Good morning. Now let us know the difference between a bill and a promissory note. A promissory note is an instrument in writing containing an unconditional undertaking signed by the maker to pay a certain sum or amount of money only to or to the order of a certain person to the bearer of the instrument. So, according to the section 4 of the Negotiable Instrument Act, it is the definition for the promissory note according to the Act 1881. Now, let us know the difference between the bill of exchange and promissory note. So, in case of drawer, bill of exchange, it is drawn by the creditor, but in case of promissory note, it is drawn by the debtor. Second one, it contains an order to make the payment. As we are already known, bill of exchange is nothing but an order. But the promissory note, whereas the promissory note, it contains promise to make the payment. Only promise is there and it is an order in case of bill of exchange. So promissory note is only a promise. So in case of number of parties, the bill of exchange has three parties, namely drawer, drawee and payee. So in case of promissory note, it has two parties only, the maker or the drawer and the payee. And there is no question of drawee when you compare these two. And in case of acceptancy, it is valid only when it is accepted by the drawee. That means the bill of exchange, in case of bill of exchange, the acceptance accepted by the drawee only. It does not require any acceptance in case of promissory note. Payee. Drawer and payee can be the same person in case of bill of exchange. Drawer cannot be the payee of it in case of promissory note. So, in case of dishonor or honor are the two important words. Honoring means and everything is okay and the payment has been made by the persons. It is known as honor. We have to give respect. So honoring is nothing but paying and there is no question of arises. Dishonor, it is an anti form of the dishonor or honor, and dishonor are these two antonyms. So in case of dishonor means there is something wrong. The payment is not made. In case of dishonor of bill, noting becomes important. Noting charges, we have already known about the noting charges. It is a proof for the documentation, or notary should collect some amount. It is noting charges. Noting is not necessary in case of dishonor of promissory note. That is the difference between the bill of exchange and the promissory note. The differences between a bill of exchange and a check are as follows. So, in case of acceptancy, bill of exchange requires an acceptance, but in case of check, it does not require any acceptance. So, there should not be an acceptance in case of check, but in case of bill of exchange, it is must acceptance. The word accepted and signature are required as necessary or mandatory to the bill of exchange. So stamp duty, when you compare between the bill of exchange and check, the stamp duty is necessary in case of bill of exchange, whereas in case of check, it does not require any stamp. So crossing. So there are various types of crossing methods. In future, we will learn about the various forms of crossing methods. It is negotiable. The example or account pay. There are many type of crossing systems. It will not have any crossing on the instrument. So bill of exchange should not require any type of crossing. So in case it may have crossing, so below check, in case of check, we need some crossing methods according to our convenient. The bill proceeds payable on the due date. So due date for payment is must for bill of exchange. The check amount should be paid immediately as and when it is presented, but there is a duration of 3 months of period to the check. In case of urgency, we may produce to the bank for immediate payment, and if it is presented as per our conveniency, we will go to the bank and we will encash the check. So the check amount should be paid immediately or according to your conveniency. At the time of presence only it will be encashed. Days of grace. When you think the difference between the grace of days, 3 days of grace period are allowable in case of bill of exchange. Days of grace are not applicable in case of check. There should not be a 3 days grace period applicable to the check. It should be paid immediately only after the presence to the bank. So otherwise it will be dishonored. So withdrawal. Once accepted, the bill cannot be withdrawn by drawing. It can be withdrawn by the maker. So in case of check, it will be withdrawn by the maker. Now let us know about the important terminology, acceptance of bill. So the drawee has to accept the bill prepared by the drawer. Acceptance by writing the word accepted, and it should contain signature with a date. It is a legal document. Before acceptance, the bill is called a draft. It is nothing but drafting. Return to the drawer. This is called the acceptance of the bill of exchange. Term of bill. Term means duration. It is the period after the expiry of which the sum mentioned in the bill is to be paid. So the period intervening between the date on which a bill is drawn and the date on which it becomes due is called as a term of a bill. Maturity of a bill. A bill payable on demand, so it is a certain period after date. So legally due 3 after the nominally due date. These 3 additional dates are known as days of grace, as we already known. So it is the date of maturity, days of grace. For making the payment of the bill, drawee is allowed 3 extra days after the normal due date. Such 3 days are known as the days of grace. If the due date is sudden holiday, next day is due date. So if there is a public holiday, previous day is due date. So the holder. The person who holds the bill is known as the holder. The person who is entitled to have the possession of the bill, a right to demand and receive the amount on due date, is called the holder. So discounting a bill. When the bill is encashed from the bank